The castle of Blackthorn Ridge glowed with torchlight on the night before the royal wedding. Servants rushed through the halls carrying flowers, silk banners, and silver trays, while musicians practiced softly in the great hall. In 3 days, Alpha King Damian Ashgrove would marry Seraphina Cole, daughter of a powerful pack leader from the Eastern Territories. The marriage had nothing to do with love. It was a political agreement meant to end years of conflict between two proud packs. Damian stood alone on his balcony, looking out at the dark forest beyond the castle walls. He should have felt satisfied. The war that had taken his father's life would finally end. His people would be safe, yet something inside him felt hollow, like a piece of him was missing and had been missing for a long time. His wolf, usually calm and obedient, had been restless for days. It paced inside him, growling softly, as if warning him of something he could not yet see. Far below the castle, in the cold stone dungeons, a young woman named Elira Voss sat with her wrists bound in heavy chains. Her clothes were torn, and her body ached from days of captivity. She had been caught crossing into Blackthorn Ridge territory while fleeing her own pack, the Graves clan, where she had been treated worse than a servant. As an Omega, the lowest rank in her pack, she had been given no protection, no respect, and no kindness. When the chance to escape had come, she had taken it, even knowing the risk of being caught by another pack. The guards did not know her name. To them, she was simply the prisoner, a stranger who did not belong, and who would likely be sent back to her own pack to face punishment. Elira did not cry anymore. She had learned long ago that tears did not soften cruel hearts. Instead, she sat quietly, staring at the small window near the ceiling of her cell, waiting for whatever would happen next. That night, King Damian decided to walk through the dungeons himself. It was a duty he took seriously, unlike many kings before him. He believed that even prisoners deserved to be seen by the one who ruled over them, not forgotten in the dark. As he passed cell after cell, his wolf grew more agitated with every step. By the time he reached the last cell, his heart was pounding so hard he could hear it in his ears. He stopped in front of the bars. Inside, a woman with tangled hair and tired eyes lifted her head to look at him. The moment their eyes met, something inside Damian shattered and rebuilt itself at the same time. His wolf let out a sound he had never made before, somewhere between a growl and a whimper, a sound of pure recognition. Fate. This woman was his fated mate. Elira felt it too, though she did not understand what it meant. A strange warmth spread through her chest, confusing and unwelcome. She had learned to fear moments like this, moments where powerful men looked at her differently. She lowered her eyes and said nothing. "Release her," Damian said to the guard beside him, his voice steady, despite the storm inside him. The guard hesitated. "Well, my king, she was caught trespassing. The council has not yet decided her fate." "I said release her," Damian repeated, and this time his voice carried the weight of command that could not be questioned. The chains fell away from Elira's wrists, but she did not move. She looked at the king with suspicion, waiting for the trick she was certain would come. "You have nothing to fear from me," Damian said gently. "I only wish to know your name." "Elira," she whispered after a long pause. "Elira," he repeated, as if testing how the name felt on his tongue. "You will come with me. You will be given food, warm clothes, and a safe place to rest." She did not trust kindness, not from a king, not from anyone with power over her life. But she was too exhausted to argue, and something in his eyes, gentle despite his obvious strength, made her follow him without resistance. News of the king's strange behavior spread through the castle by morning. Servants whispered about the prisoner who had been moved to a private chamber near the king's own rooms. Council members exchanged worried glances, and Seraphina, the bride-to-be, felt a cold suspicion settle in her stomach. She confronted Damian in his study that same day. "Is it true you released a prisoner and gave her rooms near yours?" "It is true," Damian answered honestly. He had never lied to Seraphina, even though their marriage had always been one of duty rather than affection. "Why?" Seraphina's voice trembled slightly. Damian hesitated, choosing his next words carefully. She is my fated mate, Serafina. My wolf recognized her the moment I saw her." Serafina's face went pale. She had known their marriage was arranged, but she had also hoped that, over time, something real might grow between them. Now even that small hope crumbled. "And what does this mean for our wedding?" she asked quietly. "I do not know yet," Damien admitted, "but I cannot ignore the bond. You know as well as I do what it means to a wolf." The council was called into an emergency meeting that evening. When they learned of the king's declaration, panic spread through the room. Serafina's father, Alpha Cole, was furious. "If this wedding does not happen, the alliance is broken," he warned. "And if the alliance breaks, we return to war. Is that truly what you want, King Damien? To throw away peace for a stranger you found in your own dungeon?" Damien felt the pressure from every side. His council urged him to keep Elira hidden and continue with the wedding as planned, arguing that duty must come before personal desire. Some even suggested he could marry Serafina for peace, while keeping Elira as his true mate in private. Damien refused outright. He would not disrespect either woman that way, and more than that, he could not deny the bond forming inside him with every passing hour. Meanwhile, Elira remained largely unaware of the storm swirling around her. She spent her days resting, eating proper meals for the first time in months, and slowly regaining her strength. A kind servant named Mira became her only companion, gently coaxing her out of her silence. "You do not have to be afraid here," Mira told her one afternoon as she brushed the tangles from Elira's hair. "The king would not have brought you here without reason." "I have heard kind words before," Elira replied softly. "They rarely last." Mira did not press further, sensing the deep wounds behind those quiet words. Damien visited Elira often, though he was careful never to push her. He told her about his kingdom, his people, and the responsibilities that weighed on him daily. Slowly, Elira began to open up as well, sharing fragments of her past. She spoke of the Graves clan, of being blamed for things beyond her control, of being made to feel worthless simply because of her rank. She spoke of running through the forest for 2 days straight, terrified and starving, before being caught at the border of Blackthorn Ridge. Damien listened to every word with quiet fury building inside him, not directed at her, but at those who had hurt her. "You are not worthless," he told her one evening, his voice firm. "Whatever they told you, whatever they made you believe, it was a lie." Elira looked at him, searching his face for any hint of deception. She found none. "Why does this matter to you?" she asked. "I am no one important. I could disappear tomorrow, and nothing would change for your kingdom." "It matters," Damien said simply, "because my wolf chose you, and because I am beginning to believe my heart agrees." Despite the growing bond between them, Elira remained torn. She had seen firsthand how quickly power could destroy lives, and she feared becoming the reason for a war between packs. One night, she went to Damien and pleaded with him to marry Serafina as planned. "Let me go," she said, her voice breaking slightly. "I do not want to be the cause of suffering for your people. I have caused enough trouble simply by existing." Damien took her hands gently. "You have never been trouble, Elira, and I will not build my future on a lie, not even to save a kingdom. There must be another way." But before they could find that other way, danger arrived swiftly and without warning. Serafina, desperate to save the alliance and perhaps some part of her wounded pride, made a decision she would later regret. She secretly arranged for Elira to be taken from the castle and returned to the Graves clan, believing that once the problem was removed, Damien would have no choice but to proceed with their wedding. That night, hidden guards loyal to Serafina's father slipped into the castle grounds and captured Elira as she walked in the garden, unaware of the danger closing in around her. She was bound and carried away into the darkness before anyone could raise an alarm. Damien felt it the moment it happened, a sharp, tearing pain through the mate bond, followed by overwhelming fear that was not his own. His wolf surged forward with a fury he had never experienced, and he knew instantly that Elira was in grave danger. He gathered his most trusted warriors within minutes and rode out into the night, following the pull of the bond like a compass guiding him toward her. The journey to the Graves clan territory felt endless, every second stretching painfully as he imagined the worst. They arrived just as the Graves clan Alpha, a cruel man who had once ruled over Illyra with contempt, prepared to claim her forcefully in front of his own pack, hoping to humiliate both her and the king who had dared to protect her. Damien's roar shattered the night air as he charged forward, his wolf form emerging in a blur of fur and fury. The battle that followed was fierce but brief. Years of pain and injustice fueled Damien's strength, and he defeated the Graves Alpha decisively, ending the threat without unnecessary cruelty, only enough force to protect what was his, and to free Illyra from a lifetime of suffering. With the Graves Alpha defeated and pack law invoked, Illyra was formally and permanently released from any claim the Graves clan held over her. She would never again be bound to that cruel place. When Damien pulled her into his arms afterward, both trembling from the night's events, Illyra finally allowed herself to cry, not from fear this time, but from relief and something warmer she had never dared to hope for. Word of Seraphina's betrayal spread quickly once they returned to Blackthorn Ridge. Her role in the kidnapping could not be hidden, and the council, disgusted by her actions, dissolved the proposed alliance entirely. Alpha Cole, ashamed of his daughter's choices, withdrew his forces and returned home without further conflict, unwilling to risk war over a broken engagement built on deception. In the days that followed, peace was restored to Blackthorn Ridge, not through a forced marriage, but through truth and justice. The council, having witnessed the strength of the mate bond and Damien's unwavering resolve to protect Illyra, no longer questioned his decision. If anything, they saw it as a sign of good fortune for the kingdom. Illyra slowly settled into her new life, no longer hiding in shadows or waiting for cruelty to find her again. She learned the ways of the castle, formed gentle friendships among the staff, and began to smile more freely with each passing week. Damien made sure she never doubted her place beside him, standing with her through every step of her healing. Months later, in a quiet ceremony surrounded by people who had come to respect and admire her, Illyra was formally recognized as the true mate and future queen of Blackthorn Ridge. There was no grand political spectacle this time, only genuine celebration for a bond built on truth rather than duty. As she stood beside Damien, wearing a simple crown instead of chains, Illyra thought back to the woman she had been only months before, broken and hopeless in a dark cell. She realized then that fate had not simply saved her that night in the dungeon, it had given her a chance to become who she was always meant to be. She had entered the kingdom in chains. She left it wearing a crown, not because she had been given power, but because she had finally found a place where she truly belonged.